Who was the biggest con artist, Daniel Vorcaro or the Wolf of Wall Street? For those who don't remember, the Wolf of Wall Street was a former New York stockbroker named Jordan Belfort, who defrauded retirees, was arrested, and became so famous that Leonardo DiCaprio played him in the movies. Want to know who wins this contest? Then watch this video until the end and make sure to follow Glassdoor. Let's start with the scale of the damage. Belfort's scheme was the classic pump and dump. Let me explain. You inflate the price of worthless stocks and sell them off before anyone notices. This scheme caused losses of about $200 million, over $1 billion raise, to 1,500 American investors. Meanwhile, the hole at Banco Master amounts to 52 billion reais and affected 1.6 million people. Belfort would have to repeat his fraud about 260 times in a row to cause equivalent losses. But the most interesting difference isn't just in these numbers, it's in the way the scam was engineered. Belfort had an illegal brokerage called Stratton Oakmont in New York, and he used false and positive statements to push penny stocks, which are shares of companies that barely existed, onto retirees who answered the phone. His salesmen, who were basically young guys without a college degree, earned a commission on every sale. Vorcaro, on the other hand, set up a business of a completely different scale, a pyramid scheme inside a regulated bank with a corporate tax ID and registered CDBs. He raised funds through CDBs offering returns of up to 140% of the CDI in a market where banks usually pay 100%. And then, the money coming in was used to pay the interest to those who had invested earlier, a classic pyramid scheme. And to pull off the scam, Belfort had a room full of salespeople without college degrees. Vorcaro, on the other hand, according to the federal police, had an organizational chart with 4 divisions. The first was finance, the second was institutional corruption, the third was money laundering, and the fourth was intimidation and obstruction of justice. And the way both of them spent money was out of this world. At the height of Stratton Oakmont, Belfort spent up to $50 million a year on parties, drugs, and all that luxury in New York. His bachelor party alone cost $11 million. Sounds like a lot, right? But that amount wouldn't even cover the bands at Vorcaro's parties. Between 2021 and 2024, Vorcaro burned through $892 million on luxury trips and events. His engagement took place in a Roman palace and cost $14 million. His 40th birthday was in Sicily. He rented part of the island, and that cost 200 million reais. There were private performances by Coldplay, Andrea Bocelli, and Michael Bublé. For sure, the Wolf of Wall Street would be jealous. But the difference that really matters isn't about the money. It's about the people who orbited around these two schemes. The Wolf of Wall Street's case fit inside a brokerage in Queens, which is a neighborhood in New York. He bribed brokers and hid the money in Switzerland. The perimeter of his crime had well-defined walls, and when the police came in, they closed in right there. The Banco Master case, on the other hand, did not. It has no boundaries. Central bank directors were accused of taking bribes. Supreme Court justices appeared in the investigations. Members of parliament used Vorcaro's planes, and former ministers had law firms hired by the bank. That's right, Belfort corrupted a brokerage, and even while in prison, he never threatened to bring down half the government. Vorcaro, on the other hand, corrupted almost the entire republic. That's the difference between a lone wolf and a rotten, completely corrupt ecosystem.